Hello everyone, it's Emma and welcome back to my channel. Today, I am very excited to bring to you another Japanese lesson. Today, we're going to be going over some Japanese phrases that are key if you're trying to be vegan in Japan. So if you live in Japan and you're an English speaker, I highly encourage you to check out my other Japanese survival guide, and that is for how to live low waste in Japan with key phrases like no straw please, no bag please, no receipt, all that sort of stuff. But this one is targeted towards veganism. And I'm really excited for this video because living in Japan as a vegan is tricky, but very much possible. And I want to break that stigma too, that going to another country makes it impossible to be vegan, and that's just not the case. Same with when you're living in the US. It's going to be a lot trickier to, find good vegan food when you're in the middle of Wyoming, for example. Same with Japan. When you're in the middle of rural Japan, it's trickier to find vegan food, but still possible. Very excited for this video. I really hope you stay tuned for the end and you find a lot of value in this. If I talk a little bit too fast for you, you can actually follow along with the blog post that is related to this, link down below, or you can change the speed of this video using the gear icon right down here. If you're new here, welcome. I make new content every Monday and Thursday Japan Standard Time. I do live in Japan still, which is Sunday and Wednesday in the US. Also, I've become aware of a new issue here on YouTube that some people are becoming unsubscribed. So if you think that's you think you're unsubscribed for me, definitely check down there. Or if you're new here, just hit subscribe. I'd love to have you join this awesome community. I focus on mainly free, easy, and fun ways to make zero waste living fun. And one of those free ways is to learn a new language. I'm also a language nerd, if you didn't know. My bachelor's is in linguistics. I love learning new languages, love learning about new languages. This is all the key Japanese phrases you're going to need to survive going to restaurants, farmers markets, supermarkets, all that sort of stuff. One last thing, I guess, about language learning is that you don't need to learn all Japanese to use these phrases. You don't have to be fluent. These are just going to be helpful in helping you explain your diet to others. I'm going to throw up some images on the screen. I encourage you to take screenshots of them because they are very helpful to just pick up and show to somebody. That's not always the best though, is to just show them a picture of these are the things I can't eat, but it's also very, very valuable for you to actually be able to speak the language in order to better explain your diet, even just if it is a little bit. If you're interested in kind of a Japanese beginner's guide on pronunciation, reading, and that sort of stuff, let me know down below. I'd love to make that if there's interest, but considering that's not exactly my niche, I don't want to make that if there's no interest. So definitely let me know if that will be valuable to you. Lastly, you don't have to learn all of these phrases. You can pick and choose which ones are going to work best for you based off where you live in Japan, where you live in the world, if you're vegan or vegetarian, because these phrases can be used for both. First off, here's the image. Obviously you can read it. It says, I'm a vegan. I can't eat meat, poultry, or fish, including dashi, eggs, or dairy. Thank you for your understanding. This is just very valuable to have saved in your phone so you can whip it out. That can be the first thing you show them. And then you can ask further things like no cheese, please, no meat, please, other things like that. If you are interested in learning more about Japanese speaking pronunciation, I will link some good resources down below, including my own guide I have on my blog for beginner Japanese pronunciation. A few more things to note. Dashi is an animal-based broth. Be sure even things like soy sauce ramen are dashi free. And then bonito flakes are your other worst enemy. These are dried tuna, dried fish flakes, and they come on a lot of dishes. And then two more things. Konbini is a word I'm going to be using a lot because it's a lot easier than saying convenience store, and that's also what it's called in Japan. And the same with supa, that's what they call their supermarkets. In case I use those words in the video or the blog post, just going to clear that up now. Okay, so first, let's talk about explaining your diet. The first is I'm a vegetarian. Watashi wa vegetarian desu. So there are a few ways that you can say vegetarian. Typically, most people will understand if you say vegetarian. That's just the Japanese spin on the American word. They also sometimes use saishoku shugisha, and that's a Japanese word for vegetarian. And sometimes this doesn't always mean the same as the English definition of vegetarian, so it's better to continue to explain your diet other than just say I'm a vegetarian. You want to explain what you can and can't eat. Same with vegan. If you want to say I am vegan, watashi wa vegan desu. So I'm just going to use one example of this. Whenever there's a blank, you can just put in whatever word you want there. Like, so if you want to say I don't eat meat, I'm just going to leave that as a blank in the template. So you can substitute meat, pork, dairy, eggs, fish, all sorts of words in there. But generally that sentence is watashi wa blank wo tabemasen. Tabemasen means I don't eat. And then watashi wa, you're going to hear that over and over again. That means I. So if you want to say I don't eat meat, it would be watashi wa niku wo tabemasen. And then a pretty good standard sentence to use too is I don't eat fish, meat, eggs, or dairy, which would be watashi wa sakana, niku, tamago, ryuseihin wo tabemasen. Same with I don't eat butter, cheese, eggs, or honey. Watashi wa batta, cheese, tamago, hachimitsu wo tabemasen. And again, all of these are in the blog post that goes along with this video, linked down below, that have them broken out in English, Romaji, as well as Hiragana, so you can just show it to them, or you can learn to speak these for yourselves. You could also continue to explain your diet by saying vegan foods are free of all animal products like meat, eggs, fish, and dairy. Vegan no tabemono wa oniku, tamago, sakana, ryuseihin ga haite imasen. And then, like I said, learning about dashi is key as well. So you also want to say, I do not eat dashi or bonito either. Watashi wa dashi to bonito mo tabemasen. Next, let's jump into some helpful phrases that will help you in restaurant. First, you can ask, do you have vegan food? Do you have vegetarian food? Vegan no ryori wa arimasu ka? Literally, is there vegan food? You might also want to ask, is there anything on the menu that does not have meat? And that would be, menu no naka ni oniku ga haite inai mono wa arimasu ka? Also, I have a lot of very specific phrases in the blog post. I'm not going to go over every single one of these. I just want you to get a general idea of what these words sound like, how to use them in a sentence, and where in the context you would use them, like a supermarket versus a restaurant. If you want more detailed sentences, definitely check out the blog post, and let me know down below if you'd like to see a part 2 to this with more sentences. Something you might ask at your hotel or Airbnb or anything like that, you might ask someone to recommend you. You want to say, are there any vegan restaurants in the area? Oishi vegan no restaurant wo shiteimasu ka? If you're ordering a coffee or an ice cream, you might want to ask, does this have dairy in it? And that would be, kore wa ryuseihin wo fukumimasu ka? And again, you can substitute anything. In that, you can substitute eggs, honey, meat, fish into that sentence. So that's kind of why I'm not going over every single sentence I have on the blog post, just because you can kind of use this as a puzzle. I will go over words at the end, like single individual words, so that you can learn to build sentences for yourself. Another phrase that's not necessarily vegan, but I know a lot of vegans are also gluten-free. So you might want to ask, do you have any gluten-free bread? Or is this bread gluten-free? Mu gluten no pan wa arimasu ka? And then here's a sentence that is also great because you can easily veganize dishes in Japan. Something like pizza, a plant-based burger, ramen, and then you would just simply ask, can I have this but without cheese? Can I have this but without meat? Can I have this but without fish? So I'm just going to go over one of those sentences, but where cheese is, you can substitute any other word. Kore wo cheese nuki de chumon dekimasu ka? Now, let's jump into some phrases that you might use at the supermarket or while shopping elsewhere. Again, a very good phrase to use is this vegan? Which is simply, kore wa vegan desu ka? Or, kore wa vegetarian desu ka? If you just simply want to ask what something is, that is, kore wa nan desu ka? Again, I'm strictly just going to keep this to vegan and vegetarian phrases, but there are some very helpful phrases in the blog post asking like, where can I find this? How much does this cost? And other things like that. So if you're interested in more of that stuff, check out the blog post. Also, if you'd like to see like a phrases tourists should know in Japan video, let me know. I love to make Japanese content. I just don't know if there's quite a demand for it, so let me know down below. A phrase that will come in handy at a restaurant or a supermarket is, can you recommend something to me that's vegan? Definitely like be sure to explain your diet first, and then if you don't know where to start looking in the supermarket, you can ask, where can I find this? Or what do you recommend? What do you recommend is osusume wa arimasu ka? If you want to ask where something is, like where is the vegan section, where is the tofu, anything like that, you can plug anything into the sentence. That would be blank wa doku desu ka? Tofu wa doku desu ka? Where's the tofu? So those are all the really key phrases that I have that I want to show you today. Again, you can use them as a puzzle to build more sentences. So now let's break it up into individual words so you can learn how to say them all. First is meat. Meat is niku. Pretty easy one. And then beef is gyuniku. Gyuniku. Pork is butaniku, or simply poku. It kind of depends on the context. I don't know why. Chicken is toriniku. Lamb is hitsujiniku. If you haven't caught the trend yet, it's pretty much the animal plus meat. Ham is hamu. A lot of these are very easy. It's just the American word, but with Japanese pronunciation. So sausage is sausage. Sausage. Bacon is bacon. Bacon. Seafood is gyokairui. Gyokairui. Fish is sakana. Sakana. Shrimp is ebi. Ebi. Shellfish is kai. Octopus is taco. Taco. Like Mexican food. A really popular snack in Japan is takoyaki, which is grilled octopus dumplings. So steer away from those. Those are definitely not vegan. Squid is ika. Cod roe, it's kind of like caviar, is mentaiko. Bonito is the dried tuna, which is katsuo. You sometimes also see it written as katsuobushi. And sometimes it will literally also be written as bonito. Tuna is, again, another one with 2 words. It could be tsuna, or maguro. I think I see it mostly as maguro. I've never really seen tsuna before. Crab is kani. Fish stock, which is used a lot in ramen dishes, unfortunately, is sakana dashi, or just dashi. You'll see it written both ways. Dairy is also pronounced 2 different ways. Throughout this video, I've used the word nyuseihin, but sometimes it's also pronounced gyunu. And typically, gyunu is just used for milk, and then nyuseihin is used for all dairy products. Cheese is an easy one. It's chizu. Chizu. Butter, another easy one. Bata or bata. Egg is tamago. Mayonnaise. Honey is hachimitsu. Gelatin is zeratin. Tofu, they might not understand you if you say it like an American, like tofu. They have a bit of a different pronunciation, so you might have to say it like Japanese, which is tofu. Sometimes like a hard D sound, sometimes it's still a T sound. So if you just say tofu, make your F sound kind of quiet, then you sound Japanese, sort of. Vegetable is yasai. So if you see something like vegetable ramen, vegetable pizza, I don't really know any other dishes. Typically safe for vegans and vegetarians, but of course, always be sure. Fruit is kudamono. Garlic is ninniku. And onion is tamanegi. I just threw those in at the end because they might be helpful ingredients that you can eat or that you want to add to a dish. The last thing I want to add to this video is a few vegan products that are at the supermarket, at konbinis. I just wanted to throw these in because if you're new to veganism, if you're new to living in Japan, it might be tricky to be like, what can I even eat? I'm here to help. At the supa, you might see things like vegan instant ramen, and then you can just add vegetables or tofu. Chaya Macrobiotics makes a keema curry. Tofu is of course a great option to get at supermarkets. There are so many different brands and different styles. Japan is land of tofu, so take full advantage of that. You can also get a lot of soy meat, like soy curls. It's like textured vegetable protein, TVP. I have found that at a lot of different stores, so definitely look out for that. I usually find it by the flour, which is weird. Soy and almond milk is very popular. I've even seen Blue Diamond almond milk at like supas and konbinis. But of course, if you're curious, if you can't read the label, you can just take the carton you have, walk up to someone and ask, does this contain milk? Like we learned earlier. Soy yogurt. Of course, you can just get whole fruits and vegetables. Dango and mochi. For the win, my favorite vegan Japanese snack. You can find dango and mochi almost anywhere, even like for street food. There's also some places that sell soy ice cream. Moringa makes macrobiotic cookies and biscuits. There's also been a lot more vegan cheese options in Japan over the past few years, which is really awesome, as well as miso paste and oatmeal. And there are also other products like canned corn, canned beans, rice, of course. You can still make really good healthy meals that are completely vegan or vegetarian. At the konbini, you probably aren't gonna go there for an actual meal unless you're like me and eat konbini snacks for lunch, but these are things that you just might get for a snack on a road trip or to have at work or something. And those items are salt onigiri. Onigiri are the little triangle rice balls wrapped in seaweed. You can also get plum onigiri, which is it's like a pickled plum, not just like an actual plum. Edamame is another great snack that is naturally vegan. Again, soy and almond milk is popular at konbinis. All sorts of juice, bags of nuts, whole fruit. Amanoya's kabukiage, which is rice crackers. Happy Turn also makes rice crackers. Sekihan onigiri, which is red rice onigiri. Imo kempi is sweet potato sticks. Happy Dates is a brand of date bars. Natto maki roll is a fermented soybean roll. There are also a lot of salads you can get at konbinis, which is awesome. Just definitely check to be sure that the dressing is vegan. Unless you're vegetarian, then you're good. Tsukemono is pickled vegetables. Family Mart and 7-Eleven also do vegan hash browns. French fries is another really popular snack at konbinis, but they're called fried potato and not French fries. Soy joy bars are vegan. Yuzu soybean chips. Moringa macrobiotic cake. Moringa macrobiotic cookies and biscuits. Biokura macrobiotic cookies. Azuki bar, which is the red beans. Gari gari kun bar, I don't know what that is. And then soy milk lattes. Natural Lawson, I think it's green or brown. I forget, I think it's green. But Natural Lawson does a lot more vegan things because I try to keep it natural and healthy and organic. And those things are tofu cheese, vegan noodles, vegan curry, vegan cookies, and macrobiotic cookies. One more more category I want to go over is vegan street food in Japan. So there are a lot of places you can get street food. Osaka, Kyoto, where we are about to go. Nozawa Onsen, Tokyo, there's so many places to get street food. Like I said, mochi and dango are great because these are just rice cakes. Most of them are stuffed with red beans, which is completely vegan. It's just sugar and rice and beans. I know I was scared of red beans when I first moved to Japan just because it's beans in a dessert, but they're really good. Daifuku is stuffed mochi. So you'll see those typically stuffed with things like strawberry. Botta mochi or ohagi is the red bean mochi. Warabi mochi is soybean powder jelly. These are like the squares of mochi you'll see. They're mochi, but they're kind of covered in a soybean powder, and they taste really nutty and they're really good. Daigaku imo is candied sweet potato, another favorite of mine. Yokan is thick sweet bean jelly. Monaka is red bean wafer sandwich. Manju is red bean buns. Taiyaki is the fish-shaped red bean cakes. You've probably seen them on the internet or in like anime or something at some point if you've never heard of these. They typically contain egg, but just ask because some places might not use egg in their batter. Rice crackers are a great option, and then sesame crackers. We found some delicious sesame crackers in Takayama, and I wish I could eat them every single day. They were so good. But as you see, mochi is really popular, red bean is really popular, and there's a lot of actual street food vegan options. Lastly is reading labels. I'm gonna throw the names up on the screen really quick for your convenience, but they're also in the blog post if you don't want to screenshot them and you just want to save the blog post for further use. First is extract of bonito. This might be best for you to just plug into Google Translate so you can hear it read back to you. That's another one of my favorite tips, is not necessarily to use Google Translate to communicate, because it is really great to learn the language for yourself. So go down to the blog post, find the phrases in hiragana in Japanese, plug it into Google Translate, copy paste, and then hit play. And then you can just hear Google Translate say it to you over and over again, so you don't have to listen to my video over and over again, but I would appreciate it if you did. But that's what really helps me, is to just listen to someone say it correctly over and over and over again, and then it's a lot easier to mimic. Next is dried bonito flakes. This is how you say it. There are a few different ways, as you can see. There's also extract of pork, extract of chicken, and extract of beef. They're all very similar, and I'll just throw those on the screen real quick. And then there's also a site I will leave linked down below. It's also linked inside the blog post that is very, very handy when it comes to reading labels at the supa, the konbini, and other things like that, because that can get a little bit tricky, especially when it comes to learning kanji. So, and lastly, just some miscellaneous tips I would like to throw out. Again, I can't stress this enough. Be sure to watch out for bonito and dashi. They'll really get you. Second, try to communicate your restrictions before actually like sitting down at a restaurant and ordering. Like as soon as you walk in, be like, hello, do you have any vegan food? Can you make anything vegan for me? You know, just so you're not occupying a table and that sort of stuff. Number 3, actually learn how to use some of these phrases. I know it's so easy to just whip out Google Translate, especially these days. You can do voice to text. You can ask them to do voice to text. While that does work, I feel that so many people are more receptive to accommodate you when you're trying to use their language. I guess just think about it in the other way around. If you are in that person's shoes, using Google Translate is better than nothing and just yelling at someone in English because they don't understand you in their country. If you're staying at a Japanese hotel, which not many people are right now because Japan closed their borders again. If you ever get the chance to visit Japan, you're staying in a traditional Japanese hotel, a ryokan, they often make meals for you. So communicate ahead of time to them. Like when you book, be like, hello, I am vegan, I don't eat meat, dairy, eggs, dashi, bonito, all that stuff, so that way they can prepare a meal for you in advance. Some last tips I have is to join vegan groups. I am a part of several vegan Facebook groups, Vegan Okinawa, Vegan Japan, Is It Vegan Japan, just because it really is so helpful. Before I'm going on a trip, I'll be like, hello, I'm going to Nozawa Onsen. Are there any vegan restaurants that you guys recommend here? Same with Okinawa. I'm like, I'm really craving vegan pizza. Is there vegan pizza available here? It just makes getting around Japan so much easier, and then learning about the restaurants. In this similar thread, Happy Cow. Get Happy Cow. It is a lifesaver. It does cost a little bit of money. I think it's like $2 or $3. It's a lifesaver though, especially living in a country where you don't speak the language, because it's so easy to just walk around San Francisco and be like, I'm looking for vegan food, somebody help me. But in Japan, it's a little harder to do that if you're not fluent in Japanese. So I just get out the Happy Cow app. I'll show you a screen capture of what it looks like. I would type in something like Kyoto, and then vegan, vegetarian, restaurants, bakeries, food trucks, all sorts of places to eat will pop up in that area, and it is so helpful. Lastly, for more vegan tips and restaurants in Kyoto, Osaka, and Tokyo, there's a website I will also leave linked for that down below. I hope that you found this helpful and valuable. If you did, I would really appreciate it if you shared it with others who would also find value in this video. I wish I had this video when I first went vegan, because if you don't know my full vegan story, I went vegan while I was in Japan. Completely thrown into a new different world because a language barrier, and I'd never had vegan food before. But I managed, and now I'm here to help others along their vegan in Japan journey. If you have any questions, let me know down below. If you'd like to see a part 2 where I dive into more phrases, let me know. If you'd like to see a Japanese phrase guide for tourists, let me know. I know no one's really being a tourist right now. Maybe come April, we'll see. I really appreciate your time, taking some time out of your day to learn more about Japanese. Yay for language learning. If you made it all the way to the end, I appreciate your time so much. Thank you. And again, check out the blog post because I really do dive into a lot more helpful phrases broken out for you slowly and in English, as well as you can copy paste those into Google Translate, which is my biggest tip for people learning Japanese. As well as download Google Translate, download Japanese, and then you can use that voice to text option, which really is a lifesaver. Like, definitely learn what you can, because like I said, people are so much more receptive to you actually learning the language. If you forget a phrase, if they are asking difficult questions that you can't understand, using that voice to text is also a lifesaver. I hope this inspired you to learn these phrases as well as learn some Japanese, especially if you're an American English speaker living here, because learning Japanese, seriously a lifesaver. I know like 1% of Japanese, and it's seriously saved me so many times. So even just learning a little bit, common phrases that you use every single day is amazing. If you like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. And if you like this sort of content, let me know what other similar content you'd like to see. But that's all I have for today. Again, I appreciate your time so much. And until next time, remember that these small changes you make have a big impact in the long run. Bye guys. 私はだしも私メニューの中にお肉が入ってメニューの中にお肉が入っていたい That word is hard. What word is that? Oh, where meat is not included in the dish on the menu. Do you have? Japanese is difficult, gotta admit. メニューの中にお肉が入ってないメニューの中にお肉が入ってないものがあり Wa. It's freaking wa. I hate particles. Which is simply これは vegan ですか? Again, I'm just gonna keep this strictly to vegan. What? Why do you have such trouble scrolling? Oh my gosh, scroll! Chicken meat? Lamb meat? You? I really appreciate your time. Wow, that was a long one. 43 minutes.